What is up, everybody? We are in the pit with Josh the Mosh. It's Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Central. What is up, JoJo? Already got comments, so that means we got to get going. If JoJo's already commenting, then we got to get the show on the road. Hey! What is up, brother?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I see JoJo in the chat already. What's up, JoJo?
He's just waiting for us.
Man, I'm excited. JoJo, hang in there because I got something to talk to you about. I got this whole show to talk about. Matt, JoJo, Ryan, everybody, hear me up. We'll get straight into it, but give us a second. We're going to kick off the show like we always do, just saying hi to everybody.
Yeah, man. It's been an interesting week. We've got some cool things happening, cool shows coming up. Got a show announcement.
Showcase. Indie Showcase was Sunday.
Indie Showcase was Saturday. And it was released for Monday on IWTV already.
Checked it out. Great setup. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Pretty stoked about the little buzz that the PPW match got on the whole Twitter machine.
Me too.
That was pretty cool.
Man,
but we'll rock in with the deathmatch stuff first. How about that?
Right into me. Hey, man, for those of y'all that know, recently I had my chance to take a spot at main event, and I jobbed out, so I'm back here on the regular time slot. I am the opening card, and I'm here to talk some deathmatch wrestling. So I actually don't have any big major events to talk to you about last weekend. There weren't any deathmatch shows that ran, nothing major. So I really wanted to spend some time hyping up the shows that's coming up next week. So JoJo, Matt, everybody, this is what I'm talking to you about. We have ICW coming to town. For those of y'all that follow us, you know that Danny DeManto was on with us last week, the promoter and owner of ICW No Holds Barred. And they are coming to San Antonio, Texas next weekend. For those of y'all that came to Power Blood back in May, and for those of y'all that used to go to Heavy Metal at 502 Bar right before the pandemic, that's the two venues that they're running at. So this first show that we're talking about, when ICW comes to town, the good thing about ICW is they always give you two shows. You get a pit or a pit fighter show of some kind, and you get No Holds Barred, which is the chains. So this time around, the I don't want to say like sub show in a bad way, but the first show, the co-show is the pit. So we actually saw the pit show up in where was it? Atlantic City in June when they showed up. And the pit is basically the whole idea of the pit is kind of like Fight Club. It takes a lot of different forms, and it's really just the most intense form of fighting that you can actually do. So from there, we're going to have all these different matches. Now, my shout out to the pit here is because this is where the local guys are making their debuts for ICW No Holds Barred. So as you can tell by the big picture, it's Aaron Mercer versus John Wayne Murdoch. I'm going to get to that in a second because a couple matches I want to highlight. We have Satu Jin opening up with Schlack. For those of y'all that followed the page, you know that my feelings on Schlack, or Satu Jin, is that he is somebody that elevates the card every single time. So I'm really excited to see him and Schlack pair off. We have the Kirks coming to town. Thank you, James. I'm really looking forward to it. I really hope y'all come out to these shows. I'm so excited. But the big three I really want to highlight is we got Brian Keith versus Justin Kyle. This is big because Justin Kyle was supposed to take on Reed Bentley, and Reed Bentley couldn't make it. So up and comer Brian Keith is able to step in and make a debut that he was now supposed to make. So Brian Keith versus Justin Kyle is the Hoss fight that we want to see. Next, Lord have mercy, numero dos has had a couple beers already. The next fight I'm going to pitch is Great Scott versus Dale Patricks. For those of y'all that have been following Dale Patricks, for those of y'all that have been following me, he's on a tear this year, and Great Scott can't do anything wrong, in my opinion. Every match that Great Scott is in is good. This is a classic heel versus babyface scenario. It's a fight, nice. And it's kind of like a no-ring setup. It's more of a hardcore setup in the pit than it is in the chains, and honest to God, that is Great Scott's forte. So that's where I'm really excited. And Aaron Mercer versus John Wayne Murdoch. I'm a huge John Wayne Murdoch fan, and we are huge fans of Aaron Mercer. The pit is in the pit is really struggling with what to do with this vote for the pit. We don't want to go with the we're winning this match because we're big Murdoch marks and we're big Aaron Mercer marks.
So much.
It's going to be a fight. And I got a little something. I'll tell you, not much, but a birdie reached out to the Baracho crew and said, I need something for that match. So look to see the craziness that the Baracho crews bring into that pit show. JoJo, I'm a huge fan of this card as well. This is a wrestling-friendly card. A lot of people talk death match a lot of time, but this is a card where there's going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of wrestling. This is going to be a good card. If you like Fight Club style shit, with a little bit of hardcore mixed in. This is huge. This is your card. So that's going to be Friday night at 5:02. Now, I didn't send a promo for this next one, but I just want to sub in. If you're coming to the pit, there's a second show. It is a second no-ring show that takes place right after ICW. It's $15. It's called No Peace Underground. It is a great card. It's at the same venue, same bar. Really good setup. That's a hell of a night of fun, but they haven't released a ton of their card yet. But one thing I can tell you is the couple matches they booked were fucking huge. I know that we have 440 versus Masada and I think like Schlack or somebody like that. It's a really good one. Right, Ryan's got a good point. Aaron Mercer and Izzy James tore it up the other night, man. Glad to see that you're popping up on the Aaron Mercer Izzy James radar, Ryan. I was really cool to see your post this morning, man. I'm a big fan of Izzy James and Insidious one. So
Ryan is a huge Izzy James fan. He's top fan.
I know. I didn't realize he's always talking about people online, and he's been talking about Izzy this last week, and I'm like, all right, man, Izzy's my boy. I like that.
Izzy and Sid both Insidious.
I love Insidious one. Like we were there when Insidious one broke her collarbone. Like we were there for that match. Like I've been watching them for a while, so. I bet you are a bigger fan of the Insidious.
I was going to put that on there. We won't tell.
Don't let me get sidetracked because I only got a couple minutes left. My next setup is Saturday night. The ICW comes back to Vibe Event Center, and this is the Chains, is what it's better known as. But this is what they officially call No Holds Barred. It's a ring with chains around the ropes. There's just a big announcements we have here, guys. First of all, for all you wrestling fans, for you wrestling marks, and I know my Puro bro is going to like this one too, himself, the man, Scott Norton. That's right.
Fucking Norton.
IWGP, fucking
NWO.
NWA, Scott Norton, the Scott Norton, former NWO Scott Norton, is there for an appearance. Secondly, if you're an old school deathmatch fan, Headhunter A and Nightmare Freddy are in action as well. That is old school IWA shit. When I tell you these two guys, when you think of Terry Funk and Cactus Jack in their death matches, these two guys are from that scene. These two guys are from that era. This is legends versus currents right now. This is a huge one. We also have Masada versus Akira and the welcome. I fucking hate you, Nastico, dick. Anyway, listen to me, Nastico. I only got a couple seconds left. Scott is making his he is coming back to wrestling, his return. That's the word I'm looking for. Nastico's got me all thrown off. But that's a big one.
He ruins everything.
Really excited about that one. This card has such great potential. It has such I mean, this is y'all don't understand. This promoter gives a shit more than everybody else. This is a great card. If you love heavy metal, you'll love this shit. I promise you. Come get at us. The weapons team for ICW is coming down. Baracho Crew's going to be up there. We're going to be doing tailgates, drinking beers. Let's fuck. That's what I'm talking about, Mark. Next weekend cannot get here fast enough. I am fucking ready. Mark, that No Peace Underground show, man, get to that one too. All of it. That's my time. I did show Scott.
I wanted to chime in a little bit though on that tweet that Mercer put about this show, the one that you just said on Saturday. Like, what happens when he beats Murdoch on Friday?
So here's the situation: Mercer's title is a title fight. Mercer could easily beat Murdoch, and it's already been announced that if Mercer beats Murdoch, he has to go the next night and defend that title. Now against who? I don't know. Would they bump Sadaka? Would they add John Wayne Murdoch back in for a rematch? Would it be a three-way? I don't know. If anybody can do it, Mercer can fucking do it.
That's what I'm saying. I just wanted to bring that up because I figured you knew what you just said. So it's like we know what we're doing on this thing sometimes.
Man, it's crazy. That's my spiel for the week, guys. I'm gonna pass it on over to Josh.
Yeah, so I teased it on the PPW page. Well, first we can touch on just want to give a shout out to everybody that took part and watched and supported the indie showcase that we had Saturday. I think it was a success. Especially I was very happy with PPW and GCWA's match for that matter. The dog collar match was great. Speaking of Izzy James, like we did, even though ASF did come out on top on that one and is the new Rising Stars.
Was a banger.
Yeah, dog collar match, how a dog collar match should be, not just a gimmick match and it's still a wrestling match that they just happen to be wearing dog collars. They actually used it, and things like that matter to me. So I was really, really happy about that. Mosh Cohen champion open challenge was answered by Chris Carter. I'm sure y'all seen a few gifs and a few clips on Twitter. It got a nice little buzz. The spots that they, pulled off, and he's
Yeah.
still intact
It
somehow.
was crazy. That match was crazy. That match had a great story to it. It's way more than the video clips. If you have a chance to check out the Mosh Shingon Championship from the Texas Indie Showcase, it had a really, really good story.
And then we will eventually have that match on our YouTube channel, which is a PPW In the Pit combined channel, if you will. It's the channel's called In the Pit, but you know, our PPW stuff will be on there. So speaking of PPW stuff, we've been wanting to talk about some new.
Josh has been texting me about this shit for weeks, guys.
So we want to drop the match. I mean, the card. Here's the official poster for the next PPW show. It'll be September 25th, Coronation. We tried to have it last year. Coronation got canceled, but it's back. It is actually will be our 365th day of being a promotion, which also coincides with Maddie's title reign. It'll be her 365th day.
That's true.
As a champion. And
looks like in the background we have
the Soldiers of Savagery. I guess now they're like 2/5 of Shane Taylor promotions. It used to be they're 2/3 of the 6-man champions.
2/3 of this ROH 6-man tag team champions. Yes, sir.
With Shane Taylor. Soldiers of Savagery will be in there because we are going to be crowning our first ever tag team champions. They're going to be 6 teams, 3 matches. The winners of those 3 matches will have a triple threat the same night.
Put NASCAR's comment up there real quick.
Which one?
The most recent one.
I guess.
Nowhere. Think about it. Think real hard. Stare at that poster because you'll never be on one, Nastico.
He's never going to be on the poster.
Banned. Rebanned. Double banned this time. No comeback ban at all.
Actually, though.
Oh, that's right.
He will be at the show. Yeah, I want him at the show.
That's right. You unbanned him so he could come answer for his bullshit. That's right.
Yep, and he's going to bring some boys with him, too, because he thinks he has a team that's worthy of being in the tournament as well.
Okay.
So, Nastico Stankass will be there, and he needs to watch his back.
Okay, who you bringing from VIP Wrestling, Nastico? You don't have anybody down here that's going to come out on top. You don't, Nastico.
I mean, they're affiliated with him. They can't be doing well.
I mean, bring it right. I'm a long way to lose, bud.
And also, I don't know if y'all noticed just want to shout out too. We're going to also have Renee Michelle will be in the house in a singles match, and then Bryson will be doing another Mouse Chingon Open Challenge because there's a show. Like I said, if you're at the last show, you know how it goes. It's like it looks like we're having a show, so there's going to be an open challenge.
JoJo wants to know if he can bring some weapons.
Well, he hasn't announced his stipulation yet because he is the Mas Chingon champion, so he has the right. Stay tuned. And then we also I know everybody was wanting, and I'll break some bad news now that we got good news. So that's how we roll, right? Everybody was hoping for Chandler versus Maddie. That match will not be happening. Stay tuned for why. Chandler, we've kind of been talking with management. He's been talking with management and he's got something to say about it. So stay tuned for his announcement. But Maddie will be there.
I'm going to hold out for my guy. I trust Chandler, so I'm going to wait and see what he's got to say. But
yeah, that's all I can say right now. Like I said, we can't drop everything. I ain't going to give all the news right now. Y'all got to stay tuned. We'll be dropping matches starting next week. Official Chandler Hopkins announcement will be coming soon. And that's it. So stay tuned. Tickets will be going on sale next week. Stay tuned to all that. We'll announce it next week on the show. Probably have some more announcements because that's what we do. And that's what I got. So now it's time to head to Japan. And welcome back our poodle boy that was in here last week.
What's happening, y'all?
Welcome back from Vegas.
I know
he was going later, but he said he was ready, so I'm bringing him in now.
Yeah, let's fucking do it. Yeah, hey, Vegas was a good time. No gonna lie, I did not think of any of you guys when I was out there. So,
we thought about you. We were saying "fuck you" and hated you at that time.
I know.
That was right. But we're glad you made it back.
I love being hated. And go fuck yourself, Nastico. I saw that. Go fuck yourself. Anyways, let's go. We got lots to cover. Yeah, we got lots of covers. Let's get down. Okay, so I'm going to talk about just the Grand Slam, just some of the key matches. So Grand Slam was the Tokyo Dome show, which this was like the first non-Wrestle Kingdom Tokyo Dome show in a couple of years. It was pretty significant. Unfortunately, they had to cap the amount of people they had on there, so it didn't sound that well, and it's a no clap crowd. But despite that, though, it was one of the best shows of the year. I fucking loved it. So we're gonna talk about some of the surprises here. So first, we got Robbie Eagles beat Desperado. Now I cannot. This was shocking to me, but it makes sense because Robbie Eagles almost didn't make it to this match. Like he was like on serious lockdown up in Australia again. So the fact that he's in Japan, it made sense just to put the title back on him. But now in one of the upcoming pay-per-views, we're gonna have Robbie Eagles versus Hiromu Takahashi, which he's finally back after a couple of months of him being out because of an injury. He's back, so it should be Robbie Eagles versus Hiromu. That will be a fucking banger. Fuck yes, let's go. Okay, next.
Just want to put that up. I missed that comment earlier. Sorry.
It's all good. I was like, wait a minute, does that have to do with me now? Okay, we're good.
Nope.
Okay, next we have the fucking Dangerous Techers, fucking main event, fucking Tai Chi doing it again and won the fucking tag team fucking belt. I fucking love it. It was a great fucking match. I know a lot of people complain about how long it was. It was like around 30-some minutes. It didn't need to be that long, but in my opinion, this was the best match of theirs. And of course, you showed Tai Chi can keep up with the best of them. So Sonata and Naito, they can go fuck themselves because fucking this is the year fucking Tai Chi. We got fucking Tai Chi. Next. Now we have Tanahashi versus Shingo, and we have fucking the great Shingo fucking beat Tanahashi. This is another fucking banger. The only issue is I wish there was a fucking man. I wish they could make noise. They were still making some noise here and there, but man, some of the shit that Tanahashi puts out, like we keep thinking every year, this is the year that Tanahashi is gonna just go back and become one of the dads. But he still shows that despite his fucking injuries, this dude can still fucking go. It blows my fucking mind how good he is. And I'm going to talk about him in a few because he actually did something very significant over the last week as well.
Stay tuned.
Next, now we're going to go to August 1st. Now, what's significant about the show was this was the final matches for Uemura and Tsuji. So this was the send-off for them before they go on an excursion. This is something that New Japan does that a lot of other promotions I wish would do because it's such a great thing because they're able to take back some of the styles and skills they learn from other countries and bring it back to New Japan. It's one of the reasons. So a lot of people are like Okada. One of the reasons why Okada is one of the best in the world because he did a fucking excursion in fucking Mexico and an excursion in the U.S. And he learned so much that he came back and has a fucking Rainmaker. So first we have Uemura fucking lose to Okada. And it was a kind of boring match, I'm not going to lie. But what's pretty cool is at the end, Okada lifted him up and then hit him with a fucking dropkick to basically send him off because he said, go fuck himself. Next. Next, we have Naito beat Tsuji. Now, Tsuji, this guy, I'm telling you right now, this guy's gonna be a big deal when he comes back. He's an athlete, he's a former athlete, played basketball, fucking just he's athletic as hell. He was doing lucha fucking moves. And one of the reasons why he's actually gonna go to CMLL as an excursion. Okay, so it should be good, and I can't wait for him to come back. Next. Okay, so now we have in 14 August, we have New Japan Strong doing their first live show in front of fans. It's going to be Resurgence. It's going to be in Cali. It's on 14 August. First, we're going to talk about Gallows and Machine Gun Kelly. They were the winners of the Turbulent Tag Team. This was a tournament that they had over the last couple of weeks in New Japan Strong. So they won. Jon Moxley is actually called him out, and he was supposed to bring one of his old partners, what guys you call like the Death Rider, but unfortunately he can't make it because he's stuck in the UK. So it is a prize wrestler. He says it's someone that he drinks with in California. I don't know who the hell that is, so we're gonna find out. It's gonna be great.
That Moxley drinks with?
Yep, that Moxley drinks with.
That's probably a fucking list a mile long.
Exactly. So yeah. Okay. So next, this is what match I'm really excited about. Fucking Moose and Ishii. I'm not gonna lie, not a super big fan of Impact, but Moose is a fucking star. This is the dude that's gonna be fucking Omega eventually for the fucking Impact belt. So the fact that they added him against Ishii, bro, that's gonna be a fucking banger. Especially Ishii when he goes against some of these big motherfuckers. Oh, dude, it's gonna be amazing.
I'm gonna make a comment about Moose real quick. Back when he was starting, it's been a couple years now, and I was talking to some people from Impact asking about him, and I asked how good he was and this and that, and they said, well, he's working on it, but there's one thing about him is he wants to be great, And that's what everybody said about him, is that guy puts in the work and just wants to. I mean, he was, a football player and whatnot and all those other things, but he wants to be great. So he works as hard as anyone. So I just wanted to put him over a little bit there.
Exactly, yeah. And he looks like a star. Like half the work is pulling off looking like a star, and he looks like $1 million.
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna be great. Okay, next. Now we have so Jay White, as everyone knows, came back to Impact, and everyone thought he was gonna be doing something with Kenny Omega and whatnot. Had a pretty fun interaction, but he did say he's back to beat Finlay. Now, on paper, it was like, what the fuck is going on? But Finlay was the last person that beat Jay White.
Yeah.
In the G1. So they do have a rivalry since they were young lions. So it's gonna be a good match. I mean, Finlay has gotten better, and it's fucking Jay White, so you can't go wrong. So it's gonna be for the U.S. Championship, which again, it is a second tier belt now. Now that the IC title is no longer around, and now, fucking double is the main event now. Our man Lance Archer versus fucking Tanahashi. This dude, I think it was 2 weeks ago when I was watching Dynamite and Tanahashi just showed up, I fucking screamed like a girl. I'm not gonna lie. I was fucking running around like, fucking Tanahashi on AEW. Oh, I was going crazy. This match is gonna be fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. No, it's not. Shut up, JP. No, he's not. Tanahashi's gonna fucking win the belt. He's gonna fucking carry. He's gonna stay in the US and whatnot. And most likely Archer's gonna win. But still, we're not gonna talk about that.
I was like, we don't need to say that. Come on.
Yeah. We're move on. Okay. Now, today, or was it today or yesterday? I forget when it was announced.
I don't even know
fucking New Japan Strong is fucking going on tour. So they're doing one show in Philly. Fuck them. Don't matter. Philly's a fucking shitty fucking city, and they can all fuck themselves.
Whoa.
Oh, it's a terrible city. It's a terrible fucking city. Yeah, it's a terrible fucking city. Wow. They're terrible fans. They boo Santa Claus. I'm just saying. But that's enough about that, though. We're going to talk about the fucking show that they have in fucking Texas. It is going to be at the, so I got this right, Texas Curtis Caldwell Center in Garland, Texas. I have to look it up. It was in Dallas.
That's where AEW was at. Yeah.
Those big companies always come to Dallas.
I know. I know. I don't know why, but still, it's okay though.
The scene in Dallas sucks, man. Like, I mean,
yeah, because the guys like this, because the guys like that. Yeah. This guy's from Dallas. That's where he's from.
I mean, Dallas is an overrated city and all this and that, but it's okay.
I'm not talking about the indie scene. Like, Dallas's indie scene is fine, but when those big companies come to town, they do not draw cards like you would think, but they keep coming to town.
Yeah. So it was funny because I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, and he was like, "Man, I don't know. I might have to wait just to buy tickets." I'm like, "Oh yeah, dude, it's not gonna sell out." Yeah, it's not gonna sell out. Like, you're gonna be perfectly fine. What's cool though, I didn't realize this. It's actually gonna be 2 shows. It's gonna be on the 25th and the 26th, and we're gonna see guys like Taguchi, which I've never seen live. We're gonna see Ishimori, ELP, and of course Leo Rush, who again is unretired. So hey, hell yeah.
That's 3 times this year. That's the hat trick.
This year.
That's
but yeah, it's a hat trick, dude. But hey. You know what? And that's one point. Also, shout out Lawler. Lawler is a really good fucking New Japan Strong champion too. So I'm not sure what the matches are going to be and whatnot, but it should be a two great fucking events. Tickets go on sale August 8th at 11 o'clock. And it goes as low as $29 to as high as $149. As you already know, I will probably try to get front row because it's New Japan. But fucking dude, for $29, you get to see some of the greatest wrestlers in the fucking world. Just a no-brainer, man. Other than having to go to fucking Dallas. I mean, who the fuck wants to do that shit? You know, you might run into some assholes like fucking Nastico. Like, who wants to do that bullshit? But it is what it is. Yeah. But other than that, that is all I have. That is your fucking New Japan fucking section or whatever
segment. There we go.
Segment. There you go. Segment. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you're back. Came back with a fury.
Yeah, man.
we'll let you go, man. Appreciate it. All
right, brother. Peace.
And we just got to keep this going because we got an awesome guest tonight. We haven't mentioned. We got
right to it,
Johnny Bedlam, but we got an AEW segment we're going to hit real quick because our AEW expert is here. And let's bring her in for a quick hit to talk about a few things and get it rocking.
Absolutely. So really quickly, Juventud, he came with the mask on. We all, I knew he would. I thought he would. I did like he tried tearing it off, and then, of course, Jericho hits that elbow from the top rope to win the match.
Judas off the top. Yeah,
Judas effects. These labors are getting better and better, and this is getting like really heated as it's going along. And I love the heat that it's bringing. I'm still loving the Hangman Adam Page story, guys. If you guys still are not watching and you're still not paying attention, Go pay the F attention. Oh my God. There's just so much stuff going on. But let's talk about the controversy real quick. The rap that Max Caster did on AEW Dark.
Yeah.
You know, I totally agree. I'm not going to be so much of a fan to where you can't admit that something is bad. Come on, guys. You can be a fan of something, still criticize it. Let's be honest. Come on.
Absolutely.
I think when they were here, when AEW was here in Austin, I think Max Caster was kind of already writing the line of what was appropriate, what was inappropriate. We all kind of dropped our jaws like, should you just said that to a 20 or a 19-year-old girl? Probably not. They went back, did it. He pushed it even further for this last rap on AEW Dark, and he finally tipped the scales.
I think so.
Tony Khan said something. Should Tony Khan have to edit every single show? No. He should have people, but if he's gonna do it, good on him. I mean that's a lot of time, but he shouldn't have to be the guy to, you know. I thought that's why he had EVPs around him and other people around him.
Why did no one take a note when that happened? There should have been 50 people that took a note that sent that back that said this needs to not make it. Like a lot of people give shit to a lot of areas, but AEW as a whole was accountable for that situation.
Oh yeah, you can't blame
exactly.
One. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It's like you don't place blame on the editor. Don't place blame on just Tony Khan. There's how many people backstage in Gorilla. There's how many wrestlers that are back there listening. Max Caster takes the role he was given. He's told probably push the envelope. He did. Went too far. Somebody should have said, too far. Pull it back. It should have never made air in the first place. So you can't put it on the two people, the editor and Tony Khan. There's 100 other people back there. So
yeah, I'm sure.
That's my 2 cents on that it should have never made air in the first place. But you know what? They admit a mistake. That's you know what I mean? Yeah, buck stops at the top, but there's a lot of tops in that company, and they like to make note of it. But in the end, Tony Khan took the blame, which good for him. They actually acknowledged it as opposed to just sweeping it under the rug, saying, "What? You didn't see that? Don't worry about it." You didn't see that. It didn't happen. Malachi Black finally made his official debut, which I'm very happy for. It's one of the most underrated guys, you know.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy how it went too. I mean, I love Cody, but I'm glad it went the way it did.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm excited to see what happens. I think we saw a picture today of like Fuego del Sol, Kylan King, and Red Velvet, and Baron Black wearing Nightmare Family jackets. What does that mean for them? I don't know, but I hope it means something a little bit more than just flying themselves out to Darks and Elevations, or maybe it means they get on an appearance contract as opposed to like the long-term permanent contract, because I would be so for it for those guys. Obviously, we know Red Velvet is already signed, but the other three have been killing it during the pandemic with AEW in Jacksonville. So even if they do get a little bit more, I would be so happy for it.
Agreed.
And also, you know, I'm happy for Fuego. He went out there, and you can see over the past year his performance and his changes. So for him to strive to be better and do better while he was out there, I give him all the props. You know, he mentioned it before. He quit his job for AEW to be out there. So, you know, I
respect to Fuego.
Great box. Yeah, I give lots of respect to him. But you know who I don't respect is freaking Nastico. You suck, Nastico.
The worst.
Jeez Louise.
The fucking worst. The fucking worst. You even made her say fucking worst. See, you got Melanie hype. Earlier she was saying F this and F that, and then she just let it out. Fuck Nastico, that's why.
Nastico.
Fucking Nastico.
I wish we could ban him, but you know what?
Also,
Josh has to let him in.
Something that I came across earlier today on the internet, a conversation about Cody. Cody is Batman from Batman: The Dark Knight. Because Cody puts everyone over, and he's the bad guy. Like, he gets this bad rep for building himself up so high. Yeah. But every single time he puts the other guy over. And I was like, we were talking about, I was like, he's Batman. He's the guy. He's the hero Gotham needs. You know.
Yep, I dig it.
Yeah, you know what? It's true. Even though he really does. I mean, look how what he did for Darby. I mean,
Right.
he had, and Darby went at it a couple times, and Darby was champion for TNT, and now look at him. That kid blew up even more.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I do like what they're doing over there. I do think that they need some tweaks. Where are all the women in AEW? I know they signed them. I know they're there. I'm waiting for the time where there's more than one women's match on that card. So I'm just waiting. That's what, like I said, you can be a fan and still critique, guys. It's okay.
Absolutely. It's allowed.
You don't have to love everything 100% all the time. It's allowed.
I hate
I'm
kidding. I didn't know if you heard me say that.
Motherfucker. Trying to get banned. That was hilarious. Cool. Well,
get out of this chat with that DMD bullshit. Don't you know who I work for? Don't you know who I work for?
We can leave it at that.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mel. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Bye.
We did so good at keeping time, considering that this was one of the first shows that we ever went with no schedule.
Yeah, and I was just like, "Wow, we're like a minute late."
We're 1 minute late with no schedule.
That's a new record.
We have a schedule every week, and we shoot it over by like 5 or 10 minutes almost every time. Let's get to it.
Yeah, we're killing it now though because we keep talking. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get to the segment that everybody tuned in for, like they do every week, is for our talent interview, and we have a very special guest. Mr. Johnny Bedlam, welcome to the pit, my brother. How you doing, man? How's it going?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Doing all right.
Doing great. Great. Teflon John in the pit, baby.
The chant's already starting in the chat.
Hey, I can't help if the people want to put me over on here too. Like they do it live, they might as well do it through a stream. You notice the window here. If you gaze into it, you can see into my soul. But, it's you've caught me on a really good day. I'm a little tired, but this is a great way to end my day talking to you guys.
And we appreciate it, man.
Man, yeah. We're happy to have you. We've been trying to get you in the pit for a few weeks. We got lined up for like 6 or 7 weeks of guests, but we kept talking about what about Johnny Bedlam? What about Johnny Bedlam? What about Johnny Bedlam?
It finally got the spot, and I hit you up, and boom. Just that, here we are.
It's nice to know that I'm hotter of a commodity than I am in my own mind, So thank you guys. I appreciate that.
I mean, honestly, so one of the things that I really want to lead with is there's been a couple guys, in my opinion, that came, we had pandemic wrestling, as we call it. And those are the guys that ran and wrestled during the pandemic when wrestling was able to kick back off. And when I think of guys that are on a fucking tear since that period, Johnny Bedlam is at the top of that list. I've seen you live several times since I think it was last October, last September, and just every single time I see you, the storyline that you're in, match that you're working, there's so much ferocity and tenacity, and you're really carrying that around with you right now. I mean, just it's amazing to watch. Is there a chip on Johnny Bedlam's shoulder right now, or what?
Really, it's just me talking shit. But man, I feel like everybody in wrestling should have somewhat of a chip on their shoulder, but not too much to where it becomes an inflated ego, and then you start to see things as oh, I deserve this, I deserve that.
Which happens way too much, sadly.
It does. Wrestling doesn't owe anybody anything. But I'd like to turn that around and also say that people don't owe wrestling anything. This is a place where, to me, this is more of an art than a business. I get that, you have to make your money. Everybody's got to get paid. Cool, man. Hey, I'm all for everybody making some money. But to me, it's this is my art, man. This is a medium that I grew up watching ever since I was 5 years old. And this is something that brought me peace at times that, I didn't have a lot. And so to me, if I'm going to do something to invest in this artistic medium that I've been watching for a long time, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And whether that's, going out there in front of people and just throwing my body around, or, putting a camera in front of my face when not a lot of people are willing to do that. That's, just part of the game that you have to get through. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job at it.
And one thing I think you left out there, you're talking about being in the ring or in front of a camera. something else that you do very, very well is when they put a microphone in your hand. Anyone that tuned in to IWTV saw a little taste of it. The part I saw cut out a little bit of the beginning of it, but I don't know if I missed it, but that was a hell of a promo. And a lot of guys are intimidated at that aspect of this thing, especially in the indies. I know a lot of people that won't take the mic and run with it. Yeah. And was that something that you, like, from day one when you decided you wanted to be a wrestler, that also I'm gonna, like, be one of the top promo guys in the fucking state? Because you are.
Well, thank you.
Straight up.
It's weird, man. To me, like, that was the part of wrestling that I was most interested in. When I was a kid, I didn't have a lot of time to watch a 2-hour episode of Raw. So I would try and keep up pretty much, and just, like, I wouldn't even watch the matches sometimes. I would just skip to the promos, because the promos to me are what kept the story going, and I watched wrestling because of the stories. I give fuck all, like, what you do in a match. Matches are important, but
absolutely
at the same time, it's like, if there's no emotion there, if it's just two guys beating the hell out of each other, it's hard to get invested. But you had stories in the 2000s that were off the wall, man, like, just some of the craziest shit I've ever seen on TV. Like, and I was, man, I think the first story that I remember seeing was when Kane was getting his mask taken away. And, like, the stuff after that. The stuff after that, where he's just in chains and he's got the towel over his head, I was like, this is a character. Like, this is frightening, man. And so, like, ever since then, like, whenever I would fast forward through an episode of Raw or SmackDown, man, like, I would just really just watch the promos, and then maybe watch, like, the finish of the match, because that's what everybody remembers.
Or the end of the shows. Yeah.
But yeah, man, like, to me, promos were always the thing that set people apart. It was the thing that was like, okay, that's why I care about this person, is because they can make an emotional connection with me, not just through the moves or their facial expressions during a match, but the way they talk. I'm also a writer. Like, I love writing. Nice. And whenever I could, like, put my words on paper and then, like, see, like, okay, if I put this on paper, how can I make this into an oration, into a monologue, and, into a speech? Like, I don't just study wrestling. I study actors. I study the way that, like, people will sit in a scene the entire time and have, like, this demeanor, and they're still, like, reciting these things with a certain cadence. There's an art to this thing, man. And absolutely. I hope that a lot of the wrestlers on the scene, like, whether it be in Texas or just all over the place, really take that to heart, of, like, that's half the game, man.
Yeah,
it really is.
One of the things you talked about was that it being an art. Your promo Saturday at the Indie Showcase was some serious shit. Your promos at Heavy Metal recently have been very similar. Your character has essentially been calling out the entire wrestling world for not looking at the greatest talent on the roster.
Leech. I'm a leech, by the way.
Well, at least you're self-aware of it, Josh. I appreciate your self-awareness.
Something I have to live with.
That character, though, is it takes a serious level of, like, heat and animosity to put out promos like that. But then we talk to you here, and you're so down to earth. Like, do you ever find yourself caught up in the character and have to be like, whoa, shit?
I wouldn't say so. I will say, though, that a lot of the things that I talk about in front of an audience do stem from some real life things that I've had to deal with in the business. I've only been in the wrestling business for about 3 years, and those 3 years have been very eye-opening. Not just even with, what's up, Biss? I see you in the comments. Not just with, like, wrestling and matches and whatnot, but also just, like, the way that people treat each other. I've had a lot of good people in the wrestling business who I consider my friends get screwed over, or, like, something happens that was just a little shady. Like, me, myself, I'm not going to name names on here because, like, I don't take food off other people's plate. But, you know, there are some people in the wrestling business who I tried to trust, and it didn't work out so well. And so, like, a lot of the things, I think, when I came back from this pandemic, at the beginning of this year was when I was really like, you know what, man, you got to go into this thing with the mentality that you have nothing left to lose. And when you enter that, I heard Kingston call it fuck it mode, you know, when you're just like, hey, like, I ain't got no, like, I'm cool with burning all my bridges, because to me, it's like, I would rather, you know, keep my peace of mind and tell myself that, hey, I tried to be the best human being that I could be, than do business with, you know, shady people and you know, these people that you don't know where their money comes from, or like, I always heard the phrase, if it costs you your peace of mind, the price is too high. Yeah. And nice. I really like took that to heart after the end of last year. And then, you know, like this year I was just like, hey man, let's just try and do something. Like, let's just try and make this different. Not a lot of people are willing to do that. And I had people that believed in me. I had people that would give me a platform, guys like Dylan Dunbar and Josh Del Barrio from Heavy Metal Wrestling, guys like Kiefer Bartek from New Texas Pro, you know, and just recently Biss from Inspire. Like, these guys saw something in me and they were like, hey, we're going to let you run with your stuff. And that's all a wrestler can ask for, man.
Those are some great radars to be on. I mean, those names that you talk about, you talk about people that are doing a lot with their program, like Kiefer Bartek and New Texas Pro, Dylan Dunbar and Heavy Metal, Biss and Inspire. Like, you talk about people that know what they're doing when it comes to trusting their talent. Like, that's, to me, when I look
at shout out Mark. I hate to cut you off, Numero, but Mark right there is one of my biggest supporters. He's there. Shout out to Mark, man. He is there every single week at Heavy Metal when we do our Mall Madness tapings.
Patricia too. Patricia and
Stephanie, those three, like, I couldn't ask for better fans. Anyways, continue.
No, I love Mark, Patricia, and Stephanie. They're great. Every time I interact with them, they're awesome. Love to have them here. But one of the things that I was saying, like, when you talk about the indie showcase, for you to pop up in a company like Inspire that's currently on a break but trying to come back, and they're picking 3 guys to say, here's the match. And you go into that, like, that's got to speak volumes to you, because Biss is a guy, like you said, that kind of is going to say, okay, go out there and do your art form, be you. So, like, going into that match with Mosh and Chocolate Poppy and cutting that promo, like, when the bell rings, like, what's going through your mind at that point? I know we've talked about a lot about, like, the art form getting there, but now you've got to wrestle and back it up with the physical aspect. Like, is that a hype moment for you, like, in the showcase? Like,
you know, man, I was in there with 2 guys that I was really excited to work with. Chocolate Poppy is one of those guys that has actually been, like, in the Texas scene for a while. But he, you know, he had made the move from California right before the Reno. He was in Reno right before the pandemic, and he hadn't really gotten a chance to, like, get out there and do things outside of San Antonio. And he was, like, ready to show out, man. Christian Mox, man, like, that guy has something about him that I really enjoy. He is I met him before the show, one of the most wholesome, down-to-earth human beings I could have met. Well, me and Poppy were like, you know, if there was a character to come out of Texas that wasn't a cowboy, that would be it. Just classic, you know, high school football, because that's like religion here, man. I played high school football in Texas. It's something else. You know, I was really just ready to go out there and just have fun. And once, you know, like, the bell rang and I had already cut the promo, and, you know, I hit that first shot on Mox and I heard the crowd, like, come with it. I was like, yeah, here we go, man. And just after that, dude, just do your thing. You've been doing this long enough to where you're comfortable with what you do, and you know, like, certain things to hit on, certain things to hear and feel. And, you know, I attribute that to my time that I spent at Booker T's, where I just learned how to feel a crowd out, you know, how to listen to what they want, listen to how they're reacting to things. And, you know, it's not the moves that you do, it's what's in between the moves that brings them in. And so, man, like when that bell rang at the showcase, I was just ready to go.
Nice. I got a question as a fan, and I've always wanted to know the answer to this question. Like, I used to DJ in a bar, and one of the things that I would teach the people that would come in, I'm like, you got to watch everything. You got to look for people's heads moving, their feet tapping, like anything that tells you they like it or they hate it. So as a wrestler, being in the ring with a crowd that might be tough or hot, like you say, like, you know what you look for. What are those things? Like, what are those keys that you're looking for in the crowd that maybe you need to try something new, or maybe what you're doing is working?
Well, it's not so much looking for them as in like listening. You know, because you're looking at what you're doing. You're in there with another guy. Like you've got to be on your game when it comes to like making your things look smooth and whatnot. But to me, it's like listening. It's a skill, and it's something that, you know, a lot of people try to find. I'm still trying to find it. I'm not perfect at it. You know, but there are little things that you can pick up, or like if you hear them, you know, come a big kick out and you hear them coming and you just stay there. You know, you always hear a story of Shawn Michaels when he was working Goldust, and he hits something big, and then he tells Goldust, like, don't move for like 6-7 seconds. And that crowd starts coming with it. They start making noise, and it's like, hey, you didn't have to do anything. Sometimes you don't have to do anything to get those people on your side. Like sometimes you just have to breathe and just let the moment hit, you know, let that moment sink in, milk it as long as you can, man. I wrestled TJ Perkins about 2 years ago. And one of the things he told me, it changed my entire way of thinking on wrestling. You know, I had messed up a head scissors or something. And I was like, hey man, like, I'm sorry that I messed up that head scissors and whatnot. He's like, don't worry, man. We're not looking for this. We're looking for this. And once he said that, man, I was like, yeah, I'm looking at this totally differently, because at the end of that match, you know, quick roll up, we got the big pop at the end. That's a successful match to me. Is like, if you can make them make noise at the end, dude, you did your job.
Nice. Exactly right. And I think I've mentioned it as a promoter, a new promoter, that's how I can tell how matches are going behind this, like backstage. Like I don't usually peek through the thing. I'm just listening, and if I'm hearing nothing, then I'm like, okay, well, we need to like go home because it's not working, because you got to hear it. It's like I'd rather hear the match than see the match sometimes, you know. You know, when you're kind of invested like we get to be. One more thing, sometimes it's just being vocal yourself, man. Like sometimes a lot of wrestlers won't say anything when they're in the ring. It's like, you know, talk your shit, man. Yeah. Like I always tell guys whenever I'm working them for the first time, they're just like, anything you want me to show, bro, just like talk your shit, man. Be comfortable. Like if there's something to say, there's something to be said about, you know, a guy who just goes in there, does what he wants, doesn't matter who he's in there with. He just does his thing, and that's respectable, man. That's respectable to the nth degree. Of like, I don't care who you are. Like, you know, you're going to be able to go home and you're not going to be hurt. But when I'm in there, dude, like, you're an opponent. You are like someone that I do not respect. I do not respect. Yeah, but like, hey, man, you know, that guy is going to match your energy. So whatever your energy is going into that match, you could probably get the same thing from him, good or bad. Very true. So you mentioned, so this is kind of like what I usually do in this part is we roll it back a little bit. You said you've been a fan since you were 5 years old. Was that like a household that you grew up in of wrestling fans? Was it flipping through the channels and what the hell is that kind of thing? Like, did you go to a friend's house and somebody was watching it? We kind of like to see, like, where did the love of wrestling begin and why?
Yeah. So my first memory of wrestling, and this wasn't the thing that got me hooked or anything. My first memory of wrestling was I was in my brother's house. He was stationed in Shreveport at the time. And my dad had bought me one of the little toy Intercontinental Championships. And I didn't really know a lot about wrestling. And I was like, oh, it was cool. You know, it was like, it's a belt. Yeah. I watched The Rock tell Booker T, like, who in the blue hell are you? And then, like, lo and behold, years later, I end up training under Booker T, which is another like full circle kind of thing. But the one that I say is like the go-to, this is my story kind of thing. My dad had bought a VHS box set of WrestleManias 1 through 15. And the first one I put in was WrestleMania 12. Yes. I'm not that young, man.
I remember but like the box set that they had.
Yeah, it was like the silver little boxes. Yeah, man, I put in WrestleMania 12, and the first thing I see is Shawn Michaels coming down from that zip line. And then the funny thing was, I actually went to the same church as Shawn Michaels did here in San Antonio when I was a kid. And so I would see Shawn Michaels walking through the halls, and I'd just be like, hey, you were on my TV on Monday. And, he's right there. So that was like a connection to me of just like, there's this guy that's a wrestler at my church. And then, I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of wrestling in the early 2000s because there was a lot of stuff that a kid my age should not have been watching. A lot of risque for the sake of being risque kind of stuff. But around 2007, I think it was like a gauntlet match with Shawn Michaels and Cena when they were like tagging right before WrestleMania. And after that, I started watching on a daily basis. I would like sneak in my parents' room and watch the TV in there or at my grandma's house. And I fell in love with it, man. The video games were also a big proponent of that. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, I give that all the credit in the world for being one of the best video games of all time. That and Shut Your Mouth. But I kept with it, and I never really grew out of it. And I grew up in a time where, like, it wasn't cool to be a wrestling fan anymore. A lot of the kids in the schoolyard would make fun of you for being a wrestling fan. And I could never talk to anybody about it because they didn't care. And it was just something that I kind of shared with myself. I shared it with my dad too. Me and my dad would sit in the living room and we'd watch it. Awesome. Yeah, man, I think around like 8th grade was when Rock and Cena were doing their whole like once in a lifetime thing. And they did the Rap and Rock concert on the same night. And I remember I was in a hotel room in Washington, D.C. For a school field trip. And the next day on the bus, I was like, you know what, man, like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. And it's weird that I can like pinpoint it to a single day. But yeah, after that, I was just like, all right, let's plan everything around being a wrestler when we grow up. And, I played high school football. Like I knew I was never going to play college ball. I knew it, man. I'm like 5'11", 205 back then. Like I'm done, man. But yeah, man. And then here I am all these years later, one of the hottest commodities in this area. So it's crazy how life works, man.
Yeah. And you're from here, right?
Yeah, I'm from San Antonio originally. People associate me with Houston sometimes, mostly because I come out to Paul Wall. But also because I spent time, under Booker T there. Spent 2 good years there. Learned a lot of good stuff. Reality Wrestling, one of the top promotions in the state, maybe even in the country, man. There's no bad word that I can say about that place.
Yeah. It's hard to argue that. A lot of talents came out of there.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Josh.
No, because you kind of answered my next question already. But then usually, what I like to do too is, so once you decided that's what I'm going to be, that process starts. Then, of course, everyone wants to figure out what kind of wrestler you want to go, because there's different. Like, do I want to be a high flyer? Do I want to be a powerhouse? You're like, you said you're 5'11", 205. You're not going to be Undertaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like. So, like, who was it that caught your eye the most? That very like, that's who. What I mean, it could be 1, 2, 3 people.
But yeah, man,
create Johnny Bedlam.
I knew from an early age that my family doesn't flip. That's how I like to put it. Like we don't flip, man. And so I was, kind of trying to find people that kind of mirrored not just my the style that I wanted, but my body type also. when I first started training, Kenny Omega was the big guy. He was the guy that everybody was talking about. And I looked at this guy and I was like, he's about my size. And then I met him at a Ring of Honor show and I was like, this guy is my size.
He is.
So I watched him. Yeah, give or take, man.
That's pretty close.
You know,
pretty close.
I think I was wearing like some boots and I was a little taller than him, but it's, you know, give or take, man. I love watching the smaller guys that are more brawlers. I love Tomohiro Ishii from New Japan. Shinsuke Nakamura also was just a big like guy that I was like, you know what, man, this guy is just fun to watch. He was a big influence in how I presented myself early on in my career. You can go back and see, like, I was a big mark for Shinsuke, man. But guys like that, and then, you know, as you get into the business, you kind of see guys that everybody talks about, but you can't really appreciate until you're a wrestler. Like guys like Kurt Angle, guys like Eddie Guerrero, Benoit, Samoa Joe. Just one of the most intense people that I've seen in a wrestling ring. Some of his early TNA stuff is some of the best wrestling I've seen in a long time. And that's because it came out in 2005, man. And I'm just discovering a lot of this earlier stuff.
That was back when AJ Styles and him were starting off too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was around the time him and AJ were getting big in TNA, and TNA was picking up some steam. Which I'm lucky I found TNA very early, around like 2007.
Yes.
And I had that like second alternative of like, no, but there's these guys over here that are doing stuff totally different.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so I mean, Joe, Angle, Sean, of course, man. Like, you know, there's no way I can't be influenced by Sean. And like Sean, like he would fly around, but he would do it smart ways. Yeah. He would save his stuff. He would save like the acai moonsaults for the big matches. The big move he did was an elbow drop. It wasn't like a 630 or a 450. It was an elbow drop, man. Anybody can do an elbow drop. So guys like that, man, just guys that like, if I saw their work, I could be like, no, I could do that. You know, that's really where I got my style. And then of course, anybody loves guys that can just slam a motherfucker like to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves that.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? Like that actually speaks to like, I won't say, I'm not a wrestling quarterback, couch quarterback, or whatever you want to call it. But
yeah,
to a large degree, a lot of times what happens, like the current algorithm almost, it seems, is like have the same match every time almost for some guys. Like sometimes you're going to go out there and you'll see the same guy do the same 5 or 6 matches. And with Sean, and even in those older days, a lot of those guys understood how to save the bigger things for bigger moments. And so it really does add to that like suspense, like, which Johnny Bedlam are we going to get tonight? Are we going to see that big shit Johnny Bedlam today? Or is this not the feud that we see him like the loose cannon? And I think that's the really cool thing is when a gimmick can have those multiple layers and understands like how to map it out. But that's just my take on it. That's one of the things that I really miss is like the buildup of drama week over week of when is my wrestler going to come out with this thing?
Yeah, man. You know, like it's hard nowadays because Twitter's around and you want to get those big GIFs for the timeline, and everybody's, you know, trying to get the thing that's going to get them noticed. But to me, I was always of the impression like if I'm good enough, my work will speak for itself.
Right.
I'm not looking to get like gift and 6 other different people. I appreciate when people gift my stuff. Like I'm not gonna be like, you can't gift any of my stuff. But what's up, Knopf? I see you in the comments. You know, man, like to me, it's more about the experience. It's more about like what you said, like, when is my guy going to break this out? Like, that's, right. You know, I know he does this, like, he's not going to, damn, he didn't do it tonight. He might do it next time. You know, that creates intrigue, man. That's, you know, I want to, you know, I'll talk about Mox again, man. You know, bless this guy's heart. he wanted to do a moonsault to the outside. And we were like, hey, man, I want to see this, but not now. Because, like, we were just like, man, this is the first time you're wrestling for Inspire. You don't want to blow your load in the first match you do, because then what's next? You know, Taker gets a lot of flack for that stuff that he said on Rogan. You know, but that's a smart dude when it comes to like putting a match together and like saving your stuff. Like there's that video of him talking to Ricky Starks over barbecue, and he's like, you do all these flips, okay, then what? You know, it's like, what do you have next? You always have to find a way to like put those things in the right place. You know, I was able to do a step up Hurricane Rana for like 5 months now. I've only done it once. You know, because nobody comes to see me do a step up Hurricane Rana. They come see me talk shit. That's what they see me for, you know? And so I would rather focus on that than be like, I got to learn how to do a Canadian destroyer. Yeah, I don't need to do that. My family doesn't flip.
As noted before. And there's plenty of Canadian destroyers everywhere. If you want to watch wrestling, just watch another show for 5 minutes and you'll see one.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to go on that topic. You got anything else, or is it that time, Mr. Numero Dos?
Man, I got all my questions answered. I'm ready to go to the fun part of this.
There's a fun part.
Man,
this isn't the fun part.
This is my favorite part.
I never prepare the guest for this segment, but it's called the Go Home segment. If you watch every episode we've done, we do a Go Home segment where me and Numero Dos will rapid fire 20 questions to the guest. Usually have nothing to do. They have nothing to do with wrestling usually.
Oh, okay, cool. I was like, oh man, I hope I don't catch some heat for this shit. Believe me, I already have enough as it is, man.
I mean, you might catch some heat, but it's not going to be wrestling related heat.
Yeah, at the end, you'll see how it ends.
Cool. Gotcha, man.
So, Johnny Bedlam, are you ready to go home?
Give me the go home cue, man.
All right, Bedlam, how far can you run?
Oh God, nothing over a mile in one sitting.
Okay.
Is Batman a superhero or a rich dude with cool stuff?
Both, because anybody can be a superhero.
Good answer.
Nice.
Is anything in your pantry expired right now?
Probably, mostly because my mom hasn't cleaned out the fridge since like 2011. So if she hasn't cleaned out the fridge, I dread to think what is in that pantry.
Wow. All right.
Sorry, Mom. I hate to bury you on here, but yeah.
First mom buried in the pit.
There you go.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, she's part of history. She should be thankful.
There you go.
Do you fold or scrunch toilet paper when you wipe?
Oh, fold. Yeah. When it comes to my booty, I don't play no games, man.
Right. What Monopoly piece do you usually pick?
You know, for the longest time, I was a thimble because I thought it was a hat. But then I found out it was a hat piece. So I started using the hat.
Wow. I always thought the thimble was a cup.
Yeah, so did I.
No, it's a thimble.
Like
yeah.
Thimble. Yeah. Crazy. Cake or pie? Hard-hitting questions in the pit, Johnny.
You know, man, The Rock messed the word pie up for me. So, oh man, if I can have a dessert buffet, that'd be great. But I'm a cake man. I'm a cake man.
Same. Nice.
Unless it's pecan. Unless it's pecan pie, then it's another deal.
Hell yeah.
Oh, pie's so good too. Pick a number between 1 and 100.
42.
71, but close.
What's worse, laundry or dishes?
I hated doing dishes when I was a kid, man. It's just the worst, bro. It's the worst.
I still hate doing dishes as an adult.
Yeah.
The last time you lost your phone, where was it when you found it?
In my pocket, because I'm stupid. Yeah, man. Well, nice. That happens to us way more than we think, man.
It does. Bath or shower?
Shower. I ain't got no time for a bath.
Same.
What shoe do you normally put on first?
Oh man, my go-tos are my white Crocs, just because I don't give a fuck. If it's not the white Crocs, then it's my Blazers.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you store your cups right side up or upside down?
Upside down. Upside down.
Okay.
Would you rather tell your most embarrassing story ever or do 10,000 push-ups?
Am I gonna have to do either on this stream?
No, but you would.
No.
Okay. Nah, man, I'm an open book. I'll tell my embarrassing stories any day. Yeah.
Fair enough.
What can instantly change your mood?
Ooh. For the better, good music. For the worse, man, if someone's just being a turd, dude. Like, you know, those aggravating people. Yeah, nasty kind of. Like, yeah, to tie it back, yeah.
When you think of the place you want to visit the most in your life, like ever, have you been there already?
No.
Okay.
If you could grant a wish for someone other than yourself, what would it be and for who?
Probably my mom. Just because she's done so much. What that wish would be, though, I have no idea. I would have to not talk to her blatantly about it, but just see, like, you know, listen here and there and be like, what is the one thing this woman wants? That would be the person I would do anything for.
Hell yeah.
That's cool. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Hell yeah.
Dogs. Yes.
Who considers you a villain in their story? That's funny to ask you that question. I've been waiting for that.
Probably every promoter in the state of Texas right now. Yeah, just like, yeah, I'm not concerned with like who thinks I'm a villain. Judge me by the enemies I've made. You know,
Nice.
There's not a lot of people who like, and if they think I'm a villain, so what? That's their problem. You know, I don't think I've done anything to be a villain. I'm just a kid with a big mouth. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I love Johnny's analogies and metaphors.
So good.
I'm a big analogy and metaphor.
So much.
Like, I'll get in fights with my wife, and she'll be like, "No analogies, no metaphors. What are you talking about?" My last question: do you ever do karaoke?
Yes, I do, and I love it. It's amazing. It's amazing when I do it because I'm a good singer. When everyone else does it, it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss. Like to watch other people doing it. I always sing songs that I know I can sing. I never go out of my range. There is a place here in San Antonio. It's called the Amp Room. And every Sunday they have a live band, and you do karaoke with a live band. And I was blown away, not at the singers, but like how good this band was. Like this guitarist was just shredding, and he was playing every kind of genre too. He was playing like Slipknot, Michael Jackson. He was playing like all types of Whitney Houston, man. Like he was going. So that's stuff I like to see at karaoke. If I'm not on the stage. But yeah, I got some pipes, so I enjoy it.
Nice. Gonna have to do that one day. Final question. The first 19 are always random, but the 20th question is the same every single guest.
Every time.
And based on this show and these two people, there is a right or wrong answer.
Oh, okay.
In our opinion, and it's our show, so I guess it matters right now.
All right. Well, okay.
Or whatever the fuck that's worth. Do pineapples go on pizza?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, baby.
Yes.
Man, good to be back, everybody.
So I used to work in a pizza shop. And I was just very experimental with what I would put on my pizzas. We made a pizza out of like Rudy's barbecue, where we put like the cream corn as the sauce instead of the tomato sauce. Just stuff like that. You know, we were experimenting. And so like I threw a pineapple on there. It's not necessarily about the pineapple. It's what goes with the pineapple. And if you can't find something that goes with a sweet, savory pineapple, that's your problem. I can see someone's a little upset. Someone's a little upset about that.
If you Johnny Bedlam, listen, if you were to break down the final score here of all the people, we've been asking this question for over a year. It would easily be like 48-5.
Really?
What?
Oh, come on, Josh.
There's been 5 of your deathmatch guys have said pineapple alone.
I don't think
said no. Come on. Somebody check the tapes. For real, though, thank you so much, man, for joining us.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys for having me on. It's always good to talk wrestling and just talk life with people. So I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Let everybody know where to find you, your socials, all your stuff like that. We do that.
Yeah. So on Twitter, you can find me at Bedlam Johnny. That's BEDLAMJOHNNY. On Instagram, you can find me at Bedlam Johnny 1 because some schmuck took Bedlam Johnny and I don't know who it is. Facebook, you can just find my Johnny Bedlam page. And then, you can catch me on IWTV every Tuesday night for Heavy Metal Wrestling Mall Madness. You can catch me on New Texas Pro Wrestling on IWTV. And pretty soon you can catch me on Inspire AD.
Very cool, man. Again, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much.
See you next time, Johnny.
Later, y'all.
Man,
so fucking good till the last question, of course. But
the
interview was great.
Not to toot our own horns, but I'm just gonna take a moment to say some real shit. Like PPW is about to hit its coronation. That's a year of PPW. Josh was doing In the Pit before I got here, but I've been on in the pit for like 14 months now or so, and I just feel like the interviews just keep getting better and better and better. Like the opportunity to really sit down with a guy like Johnny Bedlam and get the to even break down the fourth wall. Like a lot of every wrestler interview is different. I feel like, and some guys come in the gimmick, some guys come out, and to always get those different perspectives is great. But Johnny had a lot to say, and it was really cool to kind of see him toss around his thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so good. And those are the ones I like. Like, you get to really feel like you know the person. I mean, because we go to the shows and we know the character, and that's where it belongs. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's why I like having this, and that's kind of why this whole show was created in the first place. Almost, I don't even know, a year and a half ago. Like, I think I'm on like 21 months,
right,
of doing this show, and having guests like that who come in and give it the real stuff, man. Like that's what this show's for, and I love it. It was a great show, except for his horrible taste in food. But we'll just leave it at.
He had great advice. He had great advice for pizza and pineapple.
I don't know. I threw my headset off. I didn't want to hear it. I'm petty. Awesome, man. Another one in the books. Appreciate y'all.
See ya.
We'll see y'all next week. See ya.
Bye-bye.